Welcome to the Mindfulness and Stress Reduction Orientation. I'm so glad that you're here. One of the best ways for us to reduce stress is to be present in the moment. So if you can give your undivided attention to this presentation, start by turning off cell phones, notifications, anything that would typically pull you away. You may even want to put your cell phone out of sight. The average person touches their phone over 2,600 times a day. Distractions can cause stress. Most of us struggle with stress and feel overwhelmed when we're unable to keep up with life's demands. Stress can make us feel like nothing in our life is going our way. But in this session, I'm going to talk about how mindfulness can help you reduce stress and find more joy and peace in your life. Because most of us are battling with stress over competing demands from work, home, or both, and would love to find relief from the daily strains and pressures of life. My name is Jude Johnson, and I'm a licensed therapist and mindfulness meditation teacher, and I've been teaching mindfulness meditation since 2011. Prior to this, I was working at an alternative school with kids with emotional and behavioral problems, and I was on the verge of burnout. I was ready to leave the field, start a frozen yogurt company. I had a whole business plan. I thought, gee, I could be passionate about having organic frozen yogurt. I felt like a failure, honestly, and one of my friends who was working as an administrator at Duke introduced me to the Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Program, which is an 8-week class that teaches you how to meditate. I did some research and then I decided to take the class, give it a shot. I noticed a huge difference in my ability to manage stress, and I also noticed a huge difference with the kids I was working with, that they began to utilize these skills and began to regulate their emotions better, found more peace and joy in their life. I'll never forget one kid telling me on the ride home, I'm relaxed, kind of like in this confused sense of saying it, like this is so unfamiliar. I knew at this time that I needed to continue to develop my professional skills as a meditation teacher and went on to more professional training through the Center for Mindfulness, UMass Medical School, which where the bulk of the research about mindfulness meditation comes from. So let's explore what I'm going to cover in this orientation. First, I'll go over the impact of stress. How does it impact us day in, day out? I'll cover what mindfulness and meditation are, how time and technology can impact us, the science and the benefits behind mindfulness meditation. I'll cover a guided meditation so that you can participate, and yes, consider risk, potential things that could happen with meditation that might be challenging. I'll provide a class overview of the 4-week mindfulness and stress reduction course that includes a retreat, and I'll talk about how I can support you along the way in case you decide to sign up for a class like this. So stress. Stress comes from our never-ending to-do list. You get dinner on the table, you do the dishes, and if you have children, you put them to bed and then you're ready to relax after a long day of work, but there's still things hanging over your head. Maybe you discovered there's a bill to pay tonight, or you'll have a late fee. Or maybe there are more repetitive tasks like laundry, cleaning, getting things done in order to be ready for the next day. These tasks can cause stress because we don't ever get a break from them unless we go on vacation. And even on vacation, some people feel that they need to be available 24/7. This is a major stressor now that we're available through texting, email, social media. Have you noticed that your attention has been dragged about by all the notifications on your phone and computer? And that's because we have so much to keep up with that we're often scrambling to get it all done, which leads us to multitasking. Trying to do a lot in a little amount of time, switching from one task to another task to another task, and then we feel productive on the surface, but we're honestly not very effective. So stress can cause us this feeling of wanting things to be different than they are right now. It can make us feel like there's so many different things working against us. A late bill, behind on household chores, running late to work, then maybe you run into a traffic jam. You arrive to work to discover that there are new changes, things that will require more time and effort on your part when you're already feeling behind. And this is when we can begin to feel overwhelmed. Stress expends a lot of energy. which can cause us to feel overwhelmed and fatigued. We can have difficulty falling asleep even when we're tired, trouble relaxing even on vacation. We often seem to have trouble getting into a mode of relaxation because we're on the go so much of the time. You might notice you have trouble letting go of worry or anxiousness. High stress levels can cause us to ruminate or think over and over about our problems and stressors instead of taking action. We kind of get frozen. Stress can also cause us to go on automatic pilot. We repeat the same kinds of thought patterns over and over again, so our routines and habits are so normal for us that we're not even aware of how we're thinking and feeling in these moments. In fact, research says that we're not paying attention to the task at hand, the one that we intended to focus on, about 47% of the time. And all of this stress, this automatic pilot, can lead to unhealthy lifestyles and health problems. You might stress eat, become sedentary, become addicted to screens, use alcohol or drugs to try to cope with the stress. Now, if any of this sounds familiar, you are not alone. 75 to 90% of doctor's office visits are stress-related. Stress can impair our body's ability to fight off illness and can cause physical and psychological problems. Physical ailments that are often reported are things like headaches or GI discomfort. People often report to have higher anxiety or even depressive symptoms related to their stress. Neuroscience says that the average human has about 70,000 thoughts every single day. And most people's thoughts today look very familiar to yesterday's thoughts. We have automatic responses to deal with stress, and sometimes we're not even aware of why we feel the way we do. The neurons that fire together wire together, and they create a pathway in the brain. So the more we behave in a particular way, the more we think in particular ways, the more this becomes the habit of the mind. But in order to bring ourselves out of this habit, we have to pay closer attention to what's going on. But we often spend our time distracting ourselves in various ways because we want to avoid the pain of stress. We also may be consumed with achieving or seeking pleasure, and while these are normal human tendencies, if left unchecked, it can cause our stress to build. Let's look at how you spend your time. Well, if you live to be 75 years old, which is the average lifespan, you would live for 27,375 days, yet we spend about a third of that time sleeping, or 9,125 days. We're at work 3,750 days, and we spend on average 5,475 days watching TV. Some of the latest stats reported are the average American spends 11 hours per day watching, reading, listening to, or simply interacting with media. U.S. adults spend an average of 3.5 hours a day on mobile devices. When you're not taking care of daily obligations, how are you spending your time? How much time do you have left? Assuming that you'll live to be 75, if you're 40 years old, you have 12,775 days left. And if you're 50, you have 9,125 days left. Remember, you're asleep about a third of that time. It's interesting that many of us live our lives pretending that death is something that happens to everyone else, not us. Are you spending your time in ways that help you appreciate and savor your moments? Or are you too busy and distracted to really enjoy life? Wouldn't it be nice to slow down just a little? Mindfulness can help you slow down and be more present for the moments that you have. So mindfulness is our ability to be present in the moment without judgment. It's this ability to have a sense of kind and friendly attention towards ourselves. Now, this is not something that comes automatic because our tendency is to be self-critical. So what we can do is begin to learn this. We can begin to rewire the brain through paying attention in this way. And one of the main ways for us to be mindful is through meditation. So I'm going to give you a brief taste of meditation here, and if you want to hear longer meditations, you can always check out my podcast on iTunes or any platform, it's the A Keen Mind podcast. For now, you're invited to just slow down, take a seat, allow the eyes to close or soften the gaze, and just notice your body resting here. Just notice the body and where it's making contact with the surface beneath you. Notice how the body feels in terms of temperature, sensation, warmth, coolness, tingling. See if you can allow your experiences to be just as they are. Perhaps allow the body to soften a bit, to let go of any unnecessary tightness or tension without forcing. And allow any tension that remains to just float in your awareness. You're invited now to gently, kindly move awareness to breathing. Just sense and feel your breath flow in and flow out. Noticing the breath perhaps at the nostrils, the back of the throat, the chest, the belly. Wherever you can feel it most easily, follow this breath. Notice when the mind wanders away from the breath, and then gently, kindly invite yourself to come back to this breath, this moment. It's normal for the mind to be pulled away. There's no need to resist the pull. Just simply notice, allow the mind to be as it is, and then come back to feeling the breath. Perhaps you can notice the very beginning of the in-breath, or noticing the very beginning of the out-breath as you're present. Let's take a few more breaths from this space right here, just watching the breath flow in and watching the breath flow out. Now give yourself the gift of coming out of the meditation softly and gently, allowing the eyes to open, being aware of the space around you. There are no right or wrong experiences. There's just your experience and noticing how it is. That's right, there's no need to judge. And in fact, I would encourage you to put off any expectations about what you think you're supposed to experience or feel. Many times people believe they're supposed to clear their mind of all thoughts. Remember I said we have about 70,000 thoughts every day? It's just going to give you a big headache to try to stop your thoughts. We're going to learn to work with the thoughts in a different kind of way, watching them come and go as we're present. Imagine your thoughts and feelings are like waves in the ocean. They come and they go. And instead of trying to control the waves, which we can't do anyway, we learn to work with our waves of experience instead of trying to control them. This is what mindfulness and meditation is all about, and I'll go deeper into this in the course. Let's look a little bit about what the research has to say about mindfulness and meditation. Now, while mindfulness and meditation has been around for thousands of years, it hasn't been till about the last 40 years that science has really begun to validate the benefits of meditation. With functional MRIs and advanced scientific techniques, the research is flourishing. Mindfulness now is being provided at corporations like Google, Apple, General Mills, as well as universities, schools, the military, and prisons. The first study that was done was by Jon Kabat-Zinn, who took the fundamentals of mindfulness and meditation and how to develop these skills and put it in an 8-week course. Let's look at some of the specific studies that show benefits from mindfulness and meditation. One study conducted in 2011 by Harvard and the University of Massachusetts Medical School found meditation produced changes in gray matter concentrations in the brain associated with learning, memory, perspective taking, and emotion regulation. This study points to the physical changes that occur in the brain through meditation. People with post-traumatic stress disorder and major depressive disorder have shown to have atrophy in the hippocampus. This study showed that the hippocampus could increase in size and volume with meditation practice. In 2003, Dr. Richard Davidson found meditation improved immune system functioning. In this study, the treatment group and control group both took the flu vaccine, and one group participated in meditation. The meditation class showed significant increase in their production of antibodies when compared to the control group. This was the first study to show that meditation could have a positive benefit to our immune system. In 2014, a study found that meditation increases telomere length, which is associated with health and longevity. This study was conducted with women who had breast cancer. They found that their telomeres were lengthened through the practice of meditation. Now, telomeres are the little caps on the ends of our DNA that protect our DNA from wear and tear. Chronic stress can harm these caps, resulting in early aging, making the individual more susceptible to significant illnesses. Let's explore some of the most common benefits that people experience when they take up a mindfulness and meditation practice. The first is an increased ability to manage stress more effectively. And this is because mindfulness keeps you more balanced and less overwhelmed with your to-do list and daily stressors. People report improved concentration, memory, creativity, and learning ability because when you're able to relax, it becomes easier to focus and learn. There was even a study done with undergraduate students to see if taking a meditation class or a nutrition class would improve their GRE scores, the graduate record exam, which is like the SAT on steroids. This study showed that the meditation group improved their scores significantly when compared to the nutrition group. People report improved sleep quality because when you're able to let go, you can fall asleep rather than overthinking. You can experience reduced emotional and physical pain. Research has shown that meditation can produce an analgesic effect, which is the same thing that happens when you take a pain medication like ibuprofen or hydrocodone. And lastly, people report an improved quality of life because when you can manage stress better, focus, have less pain, sleep better, then your life is going to improve. So let's cover a little bit about what to expect in the 4-week Mindfulness and Stress Reduction course. So this course consists of 4 2-hour classes and a 6-hour retreat providing education on stress, mindfulness, and meditation. You'll be given weekly home practices that will include MP3 guided meditations, worksheets, and helpful tips for practice. It's important to note that this 2-hour class doesn't have any formal breaks, but you can take care of yourself as necessary with the restrooms just outside the classroom. What to expect in Class 1 is that you will understand more about mindfulness and meditation, the essential attitudes to practicing mindfulness, understand how to use self-soothing and gratitude as part of a mindfulness practice, and we'll cover eating meditation, gentle yoga, as well as the body scan. In Class 2, you'll learn how the negativity bias and your perceptions influence responses to stress. Understand how the stress response works. In Class 2, you'll learn how the negativity bias and perceptions influence our responses to stress. Understand how the stress response works and the impact of chronic stress and how mindfulness can turn on the relaxation response. The meditations that will be focused on in this class will be awareness of breathing and loving kindness meditation. After Class 2, on that Saturday, June the 1st, we're going to have a retreat. This is going to be a 6-hour long event, and it will include all the different meditations that we've covered so far, as well as meditations you haven't experienced yet. There will be a period of silence through this retreat as a way of reflecting inward and making space and room for yourself to be as you are. We'll have lunch together, and you'll bring your own lunch, and we will eat in silence. We'll avoid eye contact for the most part with one another, not as a way to be rude, but as a way to give ourselves a break from the normal social constructs that we're so accustomed to in our day in, day out life. We'll be doing some gentle yoga, some walking meditation, loving kindness meditation, a mountain meditation, a lake meditation, and more. However, this may sound a little bit uncomfortable for you because you may not be used to being in silence. So if it is uncomfortable, you can always come and talk to me about this. So let's see what we're going to cover in class 3. Now, we'll be looking at how you can use mindfulness to take in positive events and turn them into lasting experiences. Explore how to use mindfulness to work with pain and reduce suffering. We'll continue to focus on the body scan meditation as well as awareness of breath. And in class 4, the final class, will review everything that you've learned in the course, and there will be devoted time for practice as well. Resources for continued practice will be discussed and provided in a follow-up email. Now, there are potential risks to taking a mindfulness meditation class, so I want to cover some of those here. The first is that feelings of sadness, anger, or fear may seem stronger because you have an increased awareness. You may be paying attention in a more conscious way for the first time. Also, your relationships could change. You may set new boundaries or discover that you don't like certain things that you do, or maybe some of your habits or routines change and other people have to adjust to you in that way, and that can make for some challenging situations. Also, if you have an untreated psychiatric illness, including suicidal ideation, it's important that you and I have a discussion if it's untreated or it's major and you have doubts about whether or not this could benefit you. In my experience, most people can still benefit from the meditation class, but they may need to have ongoing support or have support at the same time from a mental health professional as well. But we can discuss that if you have any questions about that. And if you have an untreated substance use disorder, that is important as well because you might have heightened emotional responses if this is the case, and you can't really benefit if you're practicing checking out of being in the present moment. Now, this course is going to help you recognize habitual responses to stress and learn to work with stress differently. You're going to develop your own meditation practice, and this is going to help you become a mindfulness practitioner so that you can find more joy and peace in your life. So the ways that you can register is you can visit my website at akeenmind.com, and you will see right on the front home page, 4-week mindfulness and stress reduction course, register now. Click on that button, and that will direct you to an Eventbrite site that will show the cost of the course being $225. Now, if that price is too high for you, reach out to me directly, jude@akeenmind.com, or you can even call me at 843-364-5921, and we can discuss a fee that will work for you. I don't want to turn anyone away from this class who wants to learn these skills. Now, if you'd like to pay more, you could also call me as well. I have people that are in the high income bracket. And this whole idea came about from a teacher friend of mine, Lindsay Bridges, who teaches for the Charlotte Center for Mindfulness. And she got the idea from a pizza company up in New York who would allow people to buy a slice of pizza for somebody who couldn't afford one. And so I want this to be accessible to everyone. Just like food should be accessible to everyone, I think meditation and mindfulness should be accessible to everyone. So that's the reason for the sliding scale. You just have to make a mindful decision about what works best for you. Any questions you have for me, don't hesitate to reach out via email or phone call, and I would love to speak with you. And I look forward to having you in the 4-week course. Thank you so much, and take care.